This is a podcast all about Bears. You either cheering for this team or just pulling your hair. I like to take a minute, just sit right back and tell you how I became the #1 Bears fan.
That boy is Benny Hunter.
Cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic. People, that's the intro. Sacramento, California, born and raised. And Antelope is where I spend most of my days. Talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So we have a lot of news to talk about here on the podcast today, as the first order of business is that the Bears waived Ihmir Smith-Marsette. Obviously, Smith-Marsette was claimed off waivers from the Minnesota Vikings, but he just really never panned out for the Chicago Bears, of course, against the Minnesota Vikings. In that loss, he had that crucial block in the back on that 52-yard scramble from Justin Fields, and also had a huge fumble that ended the game in that loss to the Vikings. Also had a couple drop passes against the Washington Commanders as well. So the Bears waived Ihmir Smith-Marsette and are elevating Isaiah Coutier from the practice squad. Obviously, Coutier is one of those guys that in preseason really showed out, so they kept him around on the practice squad. But now Isaiah Coutier will get his opportunity on the 53-man roster. Obviously, there's not a lot of high expectations for him as a fan, but let's see what he can do with this opportunity for Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears offense. So the gist of the podcast today is obviously a report came out, I believe, yesterday or the day before, is that Bears and Darnell Mooney have significant interest in getting an extension done in the offseason. And obviously, multiple league sources told Heavy that the Bears and Mooney have significant mutual interest in getting an extension done. However, Chicago is not permitted to actually sign Mooney to a new deal until the conclusion of his third season. And obviously, Bears fans, this is great news. Obviously, there's been a lot of negativity surrounding the Chicago Bears. Obviously, they're 2-4. Obviously, there's been a lot of debate about Justin Fields. So there's been a lot of negativity surrounding the Chicago Bears. But this is actually really good news to hear. And obviously, this is not a hard decision for Ryan Poles to make. Obviously, Mooney has been one of the bright spots on the Chicago Bears offense over the last couple of years. And Ryan Poles knows that the connection between Fields and Mooney can be something special for years to come. And obviously, they're going to continue to get better together, going to continue that great connection together. So obviously, this is a no-brainer for Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears. And obviously, Darnell Mooney is a huge building block in terms of this rebuild, and it's a huge building block in terms of trying to get this offense going. And even though we know as Bears fans now that Darnell Mooney's probably not a wide receiver #1, he's probably a really solid wide receiver #2 on this football team, it's still good to try to get this extension done now. And knowing that you're in a rebuild, knowing that he's a vital part to this offense, knowing that he's a vital part to helping Justin Fields succeed, it's smart to get this deal done now, as you know that he is a really valuable piece to this Chicago Bears rebuild. So trying to get Darnell Mooney an extension in the offseason is absolutely a no-brainer for Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears. But the big question is what would a Darnell Mooney extension look like? According to Spot Track, Mooney's current projected market value is $18.9 million per year, which is in line with the likes of Commanders Terry McLaurin, Panthers DJ Moore, and Chargers Mike Williams. So obviously, I wouldn't be willing to give Darnell Mooney $18-19 million a year. Obviously, when the guys I listed off, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, and Mike Williams, those are all basically wide receiver #1s for their respective teams. Obviously, I'm not sure if Ryan Poles values Darnell Mooney as a wide receiver #1. If he does value him at that level of a type of receiver, maybe he does go give Darnell Mooney $18 million a year. But personally, I would not give Darnell Mooney $18 million a year. I think a good contract for both sides, a fair contract, would be around $13 to $15 million a year. So my contract to Mooney would be 3 years, $45 million, with about $30 million guaranteed. I think that would be a fair contract for Darnell Mooney. Obviously, I know that Darnell Mooney has a lot of confidence in himself. And I know that he values himself at a high regard, but I think when we get into negotiations with Darnell Mooney, he has to be also realistic, and I think this would be a really realistic contract offer for Darnell Mooney and the Chicago Bears at around $13 to $15 million a year. So, like I said, overall, extending Mooney is crucial and it's vital. I know a lot of people say, well, he's not a wide receiver number 1. It doesn't matter. He's still a very valuable piece. He's going to be a solid wide receiver number 2 for the Chicago Bears. And he's going to be a very vital piece to the Chicago Bears rebuild and the future success of the Chicago Bears. So all in all, yes, the Chicago Bears need to get an extension done with Darnell Mooney. And it's good to hear that both sides have significant interest in getting this deal done in the offseason. So before I let you guys go, let me ask you guys this. Do you guys think the Bears should extend Darnell Mooney in the offseason? Let me know down below in the comment section. Before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. And make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, we'll be back for an all new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go and subscribe cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the